morning and happy Tuesday 10 at 10. I am your host, Richard Charpentier, and every Tuesday we gather together to answer questions sent from bakers and answered by yours truly, Richard Charpentier, certified master baker. So let's get started with the questions we have today. Someone was wondering if it's possible to make a bread with just oat fiber. Well, the simple answer would be no, because oat fiber does not contain gluten. So building a structure with just one ingredient will be very difficult, as the oat fiber will be absorbing a lot of water, and therefore making it very difficult and maybe prone to get any volume. Maybe making a flatbread of some sort could be, but having so much fiber in one bread, therefore the dietary fiber or daily value of dietary fiber will go through the roof, and technically you'll end up making something like metamucil, which is a lot of compact fiber. And as we know, the effect of fiber or too much of fiber can have counter effects. So, but in order to make breads, if it's in a gluten-free, it can be done through maybe sourdough fermentation using wild yeast to help ferment the fiber. That might be something that I would recommend, and to start investigating and spending some time on the product development side to see what could be done. But by itself, it would be very challenging to really create a bread that is strictly oat fiber. It's as if, you would say, can I make a bread with using only cassava flour? Yeah, it's going to be dense and it's going to be almost like a flat, heavy bread. But it is great that you're attempting to doing so, and I would recommend. You never know what you will discover, and it's part of again, innovation and the discovery of product development. But excellent question. So moving on to our next question: what is the best preservative for wheat flour production? So, and again, if you keep, and I'm assuming you're referring to wheat flour production, so you're going through a milling process, taking the grain uh, and getting the grain through and putting it in the bag, and and leaving it there. So, the thing is flour production. Are you milling, why, you milling and separating the wheat bran and the wheat germ from the endosperm, and that's your production? Are you selling the whole wheat flour? Are you, what kind of milling techniques are you using? Because if you have the ancient techniques where you get more of the whole grain and the hash, and then more of the germ, the stability and the shelf life gets diminished. And right now, you're looking at two ways to preserve preservative for wheat. Technically, a lot of shelf life of a flour is going to be 6 months due to the potential oxidative rancidity of the fat content. And it's to maintain in US methods to have a moisture basis of 14. That's why they go through a process to always have the grain, which becomes less abrasive within the, if you're using a still rollers and through production, so it doesn't shatter as much. How much heat gets generated within your milling production is very important, and how quickly you put them in bag, where you store it. All of those are factors to preserve it. There's nothing that says, hey, add this to your flour to preserve your flour. There is, it all depends on who you sell it to, and how quickly they use it. But if you sell to people, to customers, and the production of flour that you manufactured will be sitting on pallets for 6 months and a year, that could create an issue because the flour will oxidize over time. And there is a value to maturing flour on pallets, but again, not having the details of your operation or your volume and what kind of, where are you getting the grains. Technically, once you get the grains, the kernels have a decent shelf life, stored properly, of course. But once you mill it, that's when you have to start counting down basically the shelf life and how much shelf life. And this is something that I would recommend you seek the advice of a milling experts or baker experts to understand a little more in depth what you're trying to do and trying to achieve, and go from there. So, but excellent question, and best of luck with your search. So now for a last question today, somebody is asking, how long should I keep my enzyme in the batter before going into the oven? Uh, it's a great question, but it also depends on so many factors. So if you're talking about a batter, and you're talking about adding enzyme, what enzymes are you adding? Are because enzymes will start reacting when they're put together with the substrates they're going after. So, for example, amylase will need some carbohydrates to go after. Lipase will need lipids and so on and so forth. So if they have the right substrates to go after and you have the proper enzyme, it I would say within at least a minimum of 10 minutes, because at least to get the activity, because most enzymes, except I think the fungal enzymes, most enzymes do react but become denatured at a certain temperature, and that temperature is always within, it can vary from enzymes to enzymes and manufacturers from one manufacturer to another, but usually in within the bakery world and the bakery concept, when you're getting to 200 Fahrenheit, internally for most baked product, you reached a kill point, and therefore enzymes become deactivated, so you don't have to worry about and it really, again, and putting a lot of thoughts in your, I hope, a lot of thoughts in your mind uh, in regards to your question and the enzyme. Enzymes, if again put with the right substrate, with the right temperature, and then also the right pH, because enzymes, we are dependent on all those factors: the amount of moisture, the amount of heat, the pH, and the amount of substrates you have in. And the more those things change, it could either be accelerated or slowed down. And if it's an enzyme that will have an effect on the rheological properties of your batter, that's what you have to pay attention to, because if you have a semi-industrial line, as you're depositing, your viscosity, if it's on an amylase, could also change, and therefore more difficult if it's automated to control your weight, and you'll see weight variation. Could be, again, we're speculating right here based on the amount of information, but yeah, I would just start with the 10-minute base, and hopefully all those thoughts will generate some ideas in how to counter what you're trying to get to. So that's it for today, my friends. So I wish you all a wonderful rest of your day and happy baking, and I will see you next week, same time. Take care.